Hey guys, I'm Josh Brown.
And I'm Jordan Stevens.
And you're watching the Cars and Health Bars podcast. Let's get right into the episode. Hey guys, welcome to Cars and Health Bars. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the C8 as per requested by one of our listeners. So with that being said, let's get right into it. It's kind of funny. A listener actually reached out via email to ask specifically for us to do a deep dive, and more specifically, Jordan being, Corvette, used to be a Corvette technician. I wouldn't say primarily, but, you did your rounds with some vets about the C8Z because, of course, it got announced. And I feel like we kind of did brush over a little bit. I feel like it needs its own spotlight with all the accomplishments it is set to do. So, I mean, before we get into that, I want to do a couple of the top of the show things. Jordan, you want to tell us a little bit about what happened to the bike this week?
Oh, I mean, I guess you mean last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was riding it home. It might have been the week before even, honestly. And anyways, I'm riding it home. Halfway home, I'm on 68 and 80. I live in Glasgow, so I drive 68 and 80 to Bowling Green on the bike sometimes. And I just felt like kind of cruising, so I took it. And yeah, so I'm cruising on my way home, and I start hearing this sound I've never heard before, and it's really hard to duplicate. So I'm like leaning over my tank, listening. I'm like, what is that? I stop and look. I don't see nothing that's bad. Chain is tight. Nothing obvious. I'm like, I know it's rotational. And whenever I clutch in and let the engine RPMs go down, it doesn't go away. It's louder. So it's not the engine. So I'm like, is it transmission? Did I fuck my shit up? I don't know. So I keep on going down the road. What else can I do? And I stop one more time because I keep hearing it. And I'm like paranoid, like check my axle nut, brakes, like, I'm like, what is this? So didn't see it. So I got home and take my front sprocket cover off, and the nut is, I can just sit here and twist it with my hand tight. And if that sprocket comes off, the chain will have the energy going in the direction to hit the case of your engine, and it will window it instantly.
Yeah.
So I got that fixed, but the chain is bad, and just waiting on a chain. Well, to put it on tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different whenever you're having issues on something that, like, you're that close to that many moving parts. And like if you're in like a car, I mean, you throw the drive shaft, it may or may not enter the car depending on how fast it's spinning and how big of a drive shaft you have. But you're talking about a drive chain that can wrap around your leg, like, nah.
The only thing I can think of in a car that can really, like, it could kill you, and if not, it's really you're never gonna recover, probably, unless you're lucky, is a clutch exploding.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
That has cut people's legs off before.
Yeah.
Cut your arm off.
Yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry. I mean, golly,
That's why you get them strong Bellhausens when you push that power.
Yeah. So I also want to talk about, and this will kind of spill into our next topic, but so have you heard about the Demon 170 already having a recall? Yeah, the Demon 170 already has a recall that is spark related. So I don't know if it's a coil pack, a spark plug wire. Bless you.
Thank you.
But it's just insane. I guess it might not be insane. I don't know. You're in the dealership world. It just seems crazy that a car that's supposed to be that engine, it's supposed to be a marvel of Mopar engineering, a $250,000 car already having a recall.
I mean, you see it with a lot more expensive cars than that even. So in terms of that, I'm not surprised. Spark related does kind of worry me a little bit. What if you had spark knock because of that? Like, it, for some reason, there's something wrong with spark and it comes too far advanced.
Yeah. Or then you start burning holes.
And you're like, well, I got a little misfire. Which, granted, I don't think a 170 is going to be rolling around with an issue without going to the dealer, because anyone who owns one of them is definitely going to maintain it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a recall that hit every single demon 170. So I mean, it's a pretty serious recall.
Yeah, I would love to know more details on that actually.
Yeah, I actually just found out about that today. I was watching I think his name is Cool Car Guru. Shout out
Oh
to
yeah, I've
him.
heard him.
He's so funny. He's like, if I pay $250,000 for a car, it better defend my house. I'm like, yeah, I really like that guy. But
It was a spark plug issue causing misfires and loss
oh,
of
it was
power.
a plug. Wow.
I'm really surprised. I wonder if it's just due to so much heat. And let's see.
Those do run. They do have alcohol injection option, don't they? Also, I believe
The
they do.
170. I don't know
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure. I know
almost
they're
sure it's
E85.
alcohol. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
Running
alcohol.
85 is all I know. Which is alcohol.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that
Very
kind of
nice.
bleeds into with the expensive modern American domestic car. That bleeds into, of course, our main topic, the C8 Z. So kind of just a little bit of baseline stuff about it. In case you don't know, the C8Z, of course, is going to be GM's next ZR1. It's going to be the cream of the crop C8 Corvette, benchmarking a insane 106 or 1064. Let me see. I'm pretty sure it's 64 horsepower
Yeah.
out of
63, I think.
yeah, gosh, it was somewhere around here. I had it pulled up, but yeah, and yeah, 64, and that's coming out of a 5.5 or flat plane, 5.5 liter twin turbocharged dual overhead engine.
It's pretty much the Z06 engine, probably with a little bit of ring gap, different plugs, and the turbos.
Yeah, and of course they changed the name to LT7.
Yeah.
So I mean that's an insane powerhouse. You look at like the Demon, like we were just talking about. Astounding. Little bit less than the ZR1, a little over 1,000 horsepower in a brick. We're talking about something that is insanely aerodynamic. It can reach a top speed of 233, and
Highest of any anything, any Corvette.
that was something else, speaking on that. I've been seeing a lot of videos lately of like a C5 and a C6Zs racing, and it's kind of like, it's not gapping each other. It's usually a pretty entertaining race. But for once, I feel like this Z is there's not going to be any like Z for Z on this. It's the C8's gone.
C5 is going to have struggle straight line keeping up with this thing.
Yeah, I mean this is going to be an insane car to come out of GM, and I'm blown away. They've always knocked it out of the park with the ZR1s, and this has been no slouch at all with that astounding horsepower number. Yeah. We knew it was going to be a demon on the track. Of course, the Dodge Demon cannot. I mean, nothing really corners domestically like a
Have we
Corvette.
got a quarter mile time yet for this thing? I know they're saying it's supposed to be like sub 10, I think.
Yeah, quarter mile time of 9.6 seconds at 150. Yeah. It did a German oval track, which it doesn't really have any specifics other than that, at a 7.6 high speed of 200. Yeah, that's whenever it hit the 233. That's insane.
Yeah, that's an insane top speed.
Yeah.
I wonder what tires they are running.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, you don't understand how much tires matter at that speed.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
it's hard to get some rated for that fast.
And see, that's the thing about the ZR1 is its base price is set at just under $175,000. That is insane. With the Demon at 250. And what we're getting into a little bit later on is the supercars that it's outperforming at. I mean, the C8, I wouldn't say a fraction of the cost, but it's pretty significantly less than what you're going to pay for a supercar. I mean, even the C8 Z06 is outperforming some of the Ferraris right now. I mean, that just goes to show that, you don't even have to have the ZR1 to kind of be ahead of a lot of not even a lot, but a few of the supercars in the game.
Dude, C7 ZR1, if you can afford that, dude.
I love the ad. I love the ad for the C6 ZR1. It's like codename Blue Devil.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, chills.
Yes, sir.
So cool. And it's just like GM has always followed that up. And yeah, I guess we can get into a little bit of the Easter eggs that I was kind of telling you about. I was watching Throttle House, their breakdown of the C8, and that was kind of what put me onto some of these Easter eggs. So if you actually look behind the door on, both sides, the trim piece that goes into the arrow on the side, it's actually shaped in a wishbone, and that's to throw homage at, of course, the double wishbone suspension that Corvette has used for generations. And I was also telling Jordan, in the back, if you look at the back glass on the new ZR1, it's actually a split window. And if you remember back to one of the most rare Corvettes, a C2 split window, it's of course paying homage to that. So it's the first Corvette to get a split window design since the C2 back in the 70s.
I remember I was leaving work like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I saw one. I was like, no way. I look at my review and I see the split window. I'm like, oh, buddy.
Jeez. That's true. Like, Corvette enthusiasts know how rare that split window is. It is not something you see every day. I mean, it's not even something you see at every car meet. There's not many out there.
You might see a couple at LS Fest. I mean, a couple.
Yeah. I think we might have seen. Was the Widowmaker car a split window? We saw that one at BTR Cars and Coffee. I don't remember if it was split window or not.
I don't remember.
I don't think it was. I think the only split window I've seen in person is at LS Fest, and it's really rare. I mean, we're in the car scene. I mean, we know
I've
these
seen
things.
Maybe 4 or 5 different ones that I can recall.
Wow. Yeah, it's incredibly rare, and it's super cool for GM to kind of pick back at those Easter eggs and like throw those into this car. It's like, especially the ZR1. I mean, it is the Corvette to have, and for them to put it inside of that car is a big props to GM there.
Man, Mustang ain't been doing good. Challenger, bye.
Yeah.
ZR1's looking pretty good.
I mean, you even look at the Copo Camaro. I mean, it's naturally aspirated, making 1,000 horsepower and like 900 foot-pounds of torque, and you got the Demon over here needing his inhaler.
Yeah. He said, "I run on pure testosterone."
Yeah, I am pure American horsepower. Like,
it's like that pig that in Family Guy that Stewie has. It goes oink.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, yeah, everybody kind of doesn't look at that. Like, everybody thinks, oh, Mopar's the horsepower kings of the domestic world. They're not really. And, I guess they kind of were with the Demon, but then it's
maybe
like, hey,
Viper.
I don't really think. I always forget about the Viper, though. Yeah, that's true. The Viper is a lot more unobtainable, I would say, than a Corvette. I mean,
I think the ZR1's going to walk an ACR, honestly. If I had to
Probably.
His mid-engine, it's already got an advantage.
That car, the C8 ZR1, has a curb weight, dry weight of 3,700 pounds and some change. So I mean, that's lighter than our cars.
I think the Viper is mid-engine, but it's front mid, where the C8's rear mid.
Yeah, and I am hearing of more tuning coming out as they start to, especially the base models, as they're starting to get a little bit older, is they're coming out of warranty. And I was talking to James Short, a somewhat local tuner, and he's done a few email tunes on some C8s, and yeah, it's cool to see that they're going to start seeing some tuning capabilities on them, see a little bit more a little bit more power coming out of the base cars.
It was a while, anyways, because no one could get the ECU unlocked.
Yeah, definitely.
They're gatekeeping that.
Yeah, you guys, it's gonna take forever for be able to crack into a ZR1. I mean, they're coming later in the game.
I mean, maybe they'll get that ECU if it's. I don't know what ECUs they're using anymore. I've not really known much since the early Gen 5 stuff, so
yeah,
I don't know how easy it is to get into them. I'm sure it's a different ECU.
Oh, I'm sure. Let's go ahead and move on to some of the comparisons between the C8 ZR1 and our supercars that we have now. Of course, I kind of talked about that just a little bit with the Z06, kind of rivaling right now what we have in the, I think it was a Ferrari. It called out one specifically that it was outperforming, and I was like, okay, that's pretty impressive. let's see. I must have had it in a different tab. But yeah, I kind of want to know what you think about, of course, you're more biased to, domestic like I am, but how you
Yeah.
feel about the domestic versus the supercars that we have now.
I mean, I certainly do enjoy some of the Italian and European cars that are out there. Like I love a GT3, GT2, any Porsche, even 911 Turbo S,
Yeah.
and to see the ZR1 is just walking these cars and don't cost as much, it really puts it on a league of its own, I think, and that's why I personally would probably be choosing the Vet, and that is surprising because I really do like his GT3 RS.
Yeah.
As far as like Ferraris, I'm not as in tune with them. I don't know, new Ferraris that well. I don't keep up with them, but I imagine it's got to be hurting them, especially in the power department.
Yeah, I'm seeing here, this is what I was talking about a second ago. The Z06 making 670 horsepower and the Ferrari 458.
NA.
Yeah.
Let's get
Yeah.
this straight. Like a 5.5. Look at your little 5 liter making 480.
Easy. Coyote
And
guys.
yeah, dude, I gotta say it because it's really not even like it's that much more displacement that you can argue that.
Yeah.
It is just a lot nicer setup for that. I'm not saying a Coyote can't do it, but I mean, you're seeing all motor Coyotes struggle to break the 650 wheel.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean,
you're
everybody's got the
putting
argument.
money into that.
Yeah, and everybody's got the argument. Yeah, all you got to do, Coyote, throw some boost at it. But out the box, the Coyote really does not. I mean, it ain't competing.
Yeah, I mean, granted, you're not finding LT5s, but when they are attainable, it's gonna be like, man, the Coyote swap ain't looking as good.
Yeah, you're right.
Can you imagine an LT5 swap like autocross C10 square body?
Oh my
Dude,
God,
like insane. And it's got a linear power band. It's real controllable because it's NA, real responsive dual overhead cam, so you can even get good fuel mileage going to your event.
Yep.
It's so cool to think of the possibility of this stuff.
I think the main thing breaks down into bang for your buck as far as the it goes between that argument between supercar and ZR1, because I mean you're looking at the ZR1 just shy of 200 grand. We'll just go ahead and say 200 grand. And I mean, you are not going to get a McLaren for that. You're not going to,
No.
I mean, you might get a Lambo for, like a Huracan, especially an older one for that, for sure. Ferrari maybe, but yeah, like the McLaren is kind of where the horsepower number is for the ZR1. And
Yeah,
you're
I'll
not
agree
touching a
with that.
McLaren. You're not touching a McLaren with, 200 grand. I mean, not even 250, I wouldn't say.
You better be having Diddy money with them Diddy lawyers if you're going to buy one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it kind of breaks down into whenever you got that kind of money, whether you're debating on buying a ZR1 or a supercar. I feel like it really becomes down to if you want that prestigious badge of having a McLaren.
Yeah, it's definitely a symbol when you buy. Like, I don't know if you ever seen the origin story of Lamborghini, and obviously he had his tractors before he got to the car game, but
yep,
he went to Ferrari. He owned a Ferrari, and he went to Ferrari himself and said, "Here is something I've noticed that you got wrong." And Ferrari had an attitude and didn't want nothing to do with it. He's like, "Oh, bullshit." And anyways, next year Lamborghini unveils his first car. He said, "You own a Lamborghini." No, well, let me see if I remember. You own a Ferrari when you want to be someone. You own a Lamborghini when you are someone. It's something like that.
wow,
He was savage to him. So
that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I feel like it really breaks down into that because at the end of the day, if you've got that Corvette badge on there, I mean, it's a GM. At the end of the day, it really is.
Yeah. But Corvette's kind of, I'd say after the C7, man, during the C7, it's kind of more prestigious.
Yeah, definitely.
Like everyone's uncle's got a C5 or something, but whose uncle's got a C8, or C7 Z06. Granted, those are a lot more attainable and really one of the best budget cars for the power level.
Yeah. But I mean, even like, I don't know how many C7Zs have you seen really. I mean, I know you.
Z06?
No, ZR1s.
3.
Yeah,
I've
I
worked on
mean,
one, and that's the only one I've ever driven or touched.
even those are so hard to like come across. Like it,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, it really is kind of it is for enthusiasts, somebody that knows a base model from a Z06 to a ZR1. We know that there is some prestige that comes with owning a ZR1. I mean, that's insane.
Man, I'm telling you, I rode in a C7 Z1 with the owner. He got on it, man, and it was reckless. Like
That
he
wasn't
was,
Smokey's car, was it? Or was
yeah.
his? Oh,
His
Smokey
other
is a
hit
ZR1.
no Smokey's a
I was gonna say I
Z06.
thought it was Z06.
He had a ZR1 in the same color.
Really? I don't remember that
That's
car.
what
I
I
must
rode
have
in
never
with him.
seen it.
7-speed manual.
Hmm.
It was yellow, and yeah, dude,
That's
it
awesome.
moved. It was comparable to that Z06, and it wasn't the power level. But
Wow.
dude, the 750 horsepower rating on the ZR1 is kind of a smidge of a lie. It's definitely got more in it. It's a 2650 on a 6.2. We know,
and
they do more.
Right. And too, a lot of people forget about the Corvettes. They are so aerodynamic and put so much downforce down. I mean, you think of that horsepower number, well, it's going to feel a lot faster than that because you're cutting through the air a lot better. I mean, you're getting way more mile an hour out of your horsepower.
Yeah, the ZR1s especially have had really good aero. The C6 kind of not as much, but C7 definitely had a lot better front fascia. Wider body. Trying to think. I know it had the spoiler, but it was just on a league of its own. And, they still go for so much money, dude. It is insane.
Yeah.
They are so far above MSRP. They are like 100% of MSRP over.
They're so sought after. That's why, they do have that base price of like 174, 175, but I feel like that market could get messed with
it's
pretty
C7
heavily.
ZR1 money, so why not get the C8 at that point? It should drive prices down.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Compared to the C6, though, I mean, I haven't been looking at C6 ZR1s on Marketplace, but I wouldn't doubt if you could find some used ones for like $50K.
Yeah.
They're definitely more attainable.
You probably I don't know. It just depends on how GM does it, but I feel like you got to like know somebody to get a ZR1. I feel like it's going to be pretty
Especially
difficult.
Especially a C7.
Yeah. I mean,
C6, nah, you got money, you're going to get one. Same for C7, but C6 performance-wise, it is really good for what it is. You know? I would say it's more desirable than the C7 to most people. I don't agree with that, but it definitely is sought after.
Yeah. The C7s have the window like the C6s do in the hood?
No, they have the big, kind of like the C3, one of the C3 hoods. I can't remember which package that was, the LAD2 hood.
They got the big vents cut in the hood? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Like the 6th Gen ZL1, but longer.
Man,
and it's way more functional.
I really prefer the window, though. The window is so cool.
Also, the hood, the rear quarter, I think the front fender. I can't remember on the front fender, but most of it is carbon fiber. Same for the C6 because I've worked on both, and I really worked on the C6. I did a full subframe drop, and I remember rear hatch, hood, rear quarter is carbon. Same for the C7 ZR1. So they are a lot lighter than their counterpart of the base model.
Yeah. On that aspect of things, being a mechanic, a lot about the working on them. From C6 to C7, it was, there are some differences, but as far as the mechanical side, it was a front engine. It was, the torque tube, yeah. And going to the C8 now, I mean, it's people working on those. It's going to be like a whole nother ball game working on them things.
Yeah, but I mean, it's cradle drop, like once you get it out, it's all there. So I've never done it, but I would love to. If someone wants me to pull their engine out, come hit me up.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, as long as you got a lift.
I got pro demand. I'll go by the book.
That's fair. I guess we'll wrap up this topic. I want to put a poll down below, and you guys have to interact with this one because I got to know. Would you rather have the raw American performance of the Corvette ZR1, or would you rather be bougie with a supercar? I gotta know.
Yeah,
So, answer in the poll below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Uh, with that being said, let's swap over to our gaming topic. A little bit all over the place on the gaming topic. We're kind of in between like some games and stuff. I want to talk about a little bit. I want to talk about some of the games that we play between our major playthroughs, like Call of Duty. You know, we get on a big binge on. Usually, we get in a big Battlefield binge. But what are some of the smaller, less title games that we play in between those AAA titles?
fair enough. I kind of play all kinds of games compared to you.
Yeah,
We
that's
kind of
true.
have a lot of different genres. I feel like. Now, I played World of Tanks for a while now. I always seem to find my way back on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a one-off game, Aside from War Thunder, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
League of Legends, Minecraft,
Yeah.
I'm all over the place.
You know what's cool right now is the spring sale is going on, and man, their games are dirt cheap. Like,
Yes, sir.
Battlefield 1 right now is like $2.
Yeah, but don't get it on Steam. It ain't worth it. You ain't playing.
No.
You will not find lobbies, I don't think.
It just blows my mind how deep of price cuts Steam is able to do on some of these, especially like the small developer games. Like,
Yeah.
you could easily pick up like 4 or 5 games for like $15.
I just gotta say it. Wreckfest 2 is now available in early access.
Whoa, that is big news.
Dude.
Really?
It's still the same engine, it looks like. Maybe not though.
Okay, we got to look into that for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it.
Wreckfest is one of those games we're also kind of like, that's kind of like a game we can kind of jump into at any time.
Always play.
It's we've kind of been away from it here lately. Not really sure why. I just kind of haven't really thought about it.
Downloaded.
It's at the bottom of the list down there for me, down in the W's, so I don't ever see it.
It's definitely the bottom of mine. You get a big Steam library, it'd be like that.
I know, right? I want to talk a little bit about Battlefield 2042 because they have a event going on right now, the War Machine event, and it's kind of like acting as their second or their next season stuff. And it seems like they're tapping into Call of Duty's market, and I've noticed that with a guy that I talk to that plays it regularly. They've added domination to the game, and that's made it feel a lot more like Call of Duty. And I feel like they might be stealing some of the Call of Duty players that are not so happy with how Call of Duty's kind of taken Black Ops 6.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that at all. A lot of people have really jumped off the COD bandwagon. I don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't. I mean, I got on 2042 the other day. It's still populated.
Wow. Yeah, I know they added that, and they also added a 4v4, but the other 4 are AI, so it's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's a Destiny situation, but yeah, it was something to for sure look into. Like Battlefield, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Battlefield handles a little bit better than this year's Call of Duty. They say, maybe it's just the way Call of Duty's doing, because it seems like the maps are getting smaller, the movement's getting faster, and it's just messing up the spawns. It's messing up the way the game plays. It's just making the game not play anywhere near Call of Duty. It feels like they're just trying to make shipment maps over and over and over again.
Camo grind maps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, have one map dedicated to camo grinds, and shoot, have it on 24/7 so you can get on there anytime. But don't overpopulate your game with those small maps that are just camo grindy. It just makes the game very unfun and inconsistent, and it ruins people's like KDs,
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people don't enjoy it. I definitely prefer a more relaxed experience when I play, because it seems like every time I play, I gotta be like sitting, up like in the zone.
Yeah,
like I gotta be focused. I can't just kind of
chill.
Sometimes you just want to relax, and I don't get on Call of Duty for that anymore. I only get on there for when I'm ready to shred.
That's why it feels like I've enjoyed this break from Call of Duty, because it just feels like you're constantly having to adapt to new lobbies. And that's fine, that's part of the game, but there needs to be some leniency.
They adapt to me.
Yeah, that's right.
You gotta be the other way around.
There's a certain amount of getting spawn killed where I'm like, all right, game, like, I don't want this, KD. Like, get me out of here.
I like it when you spawn kill me. Get me motivated. I'm gonna take you out. Bring it on. You don't
One
understand. That's what I'm about. Black Ops 2. Nuketown spawn trap me. All right.
that's fair. That's fair. I want to talk about 7 days because that's kind of what I've branched off on in my in between times. And I didn't know, but we've got a massive update coming to 7 days, and I feel like it's going to get some more players on there. Yeah, and it was actually delayed. It was supposed to have already been out by now, but it is coming. It is set to release in early access on April 15th, and that's going to be an unstable version.
So
but of course,
soon.
that's not going to stop me. Yeah, and they're wanting to go full release in early May. So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on what we're going to expect from this. Of course, we're not going to get the bandits yet. That's going to, of course, be the next update after this. So that's super exciting. But we're looking at threat levels, like, you know, how different POIs have a skull rating on how difficult it's going to be. Well, that is now going to increase based off of your progression and what biome you're in. So they're going to have biome-based progression, which is super cool.
Huh.
So also what comes with that is they are maximizing the loot for each biome. So let's say the forest, which is the easiest biome, it's going to have a lot lower loot cap. So it encourages you to go out and explore these other biomes of the map. So you're not stuck inside your biome all the time. It gives a more of challenge aspect to the game. It encourages you to go explore those more difficult biomes.
Speedrunner's about to love this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They added more hazards to the game, such as smoke, heat, and cold, and radiation hazards. So that, yeah.
So radiation suits are going to be a thing.
I'm assuming so, because they say they push your limits with craftable consumables that will temporarily increase your biome element resistance. So
radiation pills.
Radiation pills, maybe like a cold suit, a warm suit for, you know, the hot and cold biomes, which I feel like was a issue back in the day, and I feel like they made that not much of an issue, and now it's back to being an issue. So that's kind of cool.
I remember back when I first got on the Xbox and played, it was an issue.
Oh, yeah, dude, you had to be slamming them yucca fruits in the desert. It was crazy.
Dude, you did.
And so with that, they've changed so much that the developers added in a classic mode, a switch, so you can go back. So I guess they're anticipating this
because you know, some of the people who want to play, it's like Minecraft playing the different versions, right?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, you can just easily swap that back.
Yeah, like some people like the older versions, and I get that. So.
And it says here they did add, you know, speaking of the desert biome, they're adding some special zombies, and they already teased at one. It's going to be called the Desert Spitter. So it looks kind of cool. It looks like King Tut.
No. Some Left 4 Dead stuff over here.
That would be cool. With that being said, they also added some new variants of zombies as far as the higher game stage goes. Of course, you have like the ferals. There's going to be a new charged blue zombie and an infernal orange zombie. And, of course, that's going to come with the higher game stages.
Oh, God, that sounds like a pain.
Yeah, and they added new behaviors to the radiated green zombies. So that's...
no.
I'm really excited.
Be sensing you, bro.
And for those who care about, you know, how the game looks, they added more shaders and optimization to the trees. Made some of the biomes look a little bit prettier. One thing that Trevor was kind of intrigued by is they made it to where zombies can now spawn in 1 meter spaces and crawl out of them.
So in your base, potentially?
I don't know. I know they also mentioned that the zombies are going to be able to navigate and crawl through tight areas better. So I feel like that's really...
like the circular blocks that like...
That's, yep. That's what Trevor was saying. He's like, I bet that's going to screw a lot of people's bases up.
Yep.
I mean, and with that kind of comes some fun. I feel like that might add it to where, you know, you can't control the pathing as much, so you might have to worry about
rely on traps more.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what Trevor was getting at, is you got to kind of rely on traps more. It's not going to be as straightforward as knocking them off a pillar, which, you know, I'll give it to you. It is a very cheesy and cheap way to go through the game, but, you know, it works. I like this a lot. Like it's giving me more like actual real life situation zombie. Like I like that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Who doesn't want to envision they're playing The Walking Dead and they're the main character, bro?
Yeah, I talked about that with us all getting on 7 days. How cool it would be to just like play it like The Walking Dead, like have different.
I'm gonna be Daryl.
I'm gonna be Daryl.
Gotta squint.
Just like have like Alexandria and have these different like setups. Like it's just gonna be so cool. Like you imagine Horde Night with like 10 people. You got the zombies set to
I'm
64.
gonna
Like,
start a prisoner camp and play. We're
oh
on
my
easy
god.
street. Like the cages on Ark all over again.
Oh my god. Could you imagine? They did add some more. They added 50 more POIs also.
Holy
That's cool.
crap.
Yeah.
That is a major update then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is gonna be a big one, and I'm fired up because of
We
course.
gotta get all the console boys to get it.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, the very last thing in the notes here is consoles will officially be able to play on dedicated servers. So
we can launch our own server.
correct. Hopefully. It says fingers
Awesome.
crossed, so I'm hoping that they're able to get that ironed out because that's super exciting.
That is.
Yeah, 7 days has kind of been something I've been all on here lately. Like, I don't know, this latest version, like the big jump from like what it was like last year to now, like the skill tree,
Dude,
the
yeah.
lock picking. That reminds me of one other thing that I wanted to mention about the update, and this is something I feel like was much needed. And now that they brought it to my attention, I'm really happy that they made this thing. Is they've made it to where there's going to be a general perk tab that you don't have to have any attribute requirements, so it allows more custom builds. So what I'm envisioning is like the perks that you pretty much have to have, such as like Miner 69er, or
Yeah.
you know, maybe like some cooking, just the basic stuff that you would need, unrelated to what skill tree you're running.
You don't
It'll be in
gotta
a
level
general
up the
tree.
base ability.
Right. So
Mhm.
I'm glad that that's a thing, because that's, you know, I do run the intellect tree just because I like the traps, but man, I really like the parkour tree just because of I just get a little bit more movement, and I feel like
Oh, yeah.
if they put that in a general tab, and of course Miner 69, I don't even bother getting it anymore just because it's in a different tree, and it's like, god dang, I don't want to sit here and level up, you know, what is it? Maybe, I don't think it's fortitude, but I don't feel like upgrading this skill tree just to get Miner
Yeah.
69er on a tree I could be working on, you know. So I feel like that was much needed, and I didn't really realize how much needed that was until that they brought it up that it was getting
Yeah.
fixed.
I like how much the devs pay attention to the community on this game.
Yeah, they're very active in the community. Like they're always posting in the Steam discussion boards. Like they listen to your feedback. You know, they're not an indie game company, of course, but they're such a small company that they are able. Like you have a voice whenever it comes to this game,
Yeah.
and it goes. I wish a lot more
They
games
don't go
was
to
like
some
this.
robot.
Right? Yeah, I wish way more games was like this, because it's great to be heard by the developer.
Yeah, go try and do that with Call of Duty. See where you get.
Oh, they don't care. They don't care, man.
Dice, they don't care.
It just goes to show how little they care whenever their Steam ratings getting tanked, and they're still just like, oh well.
Fire packs.
I'll just they'll just have to hold out
Release
until next year.
The furry skin.
Oh my god.
It's like what they resort to.
Yeah, and it's just like, it'll be okay. They'll just buy the next one. They're just gonna keep buying.
Yeah.
It. I mean,
worry.
they're not wrong.
We got a year. They'll be back.
Yeah, we got a year.
They're marking their calendars like Christmas, dog. You don't understand.
Oh my god. All us dummies are like, oh my god, this trailer, we're getting a good Call of Duty.
Call of Duty's finally back. Every year I hear that.
Yeah. What they don't put in them trailers is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle skin and the unicorn skin.
The glitched gun tracer.
Yeah. All the tracers that are in your face.
Dude, the glitched one that you can see through the map is just always on your screen. Kept running into that last night.
I just want Snoop Dogg back.
I want Nicki Minaj.
Launch that SATCOM. Oh man, I don't really have a lot on the gaming topic. I mostly just wanted to focus on the cars topic for this episode, and it's been a while since we've had a just me and you episode, so it was really cool to come back to that.
Have we ever mentioned Gang Beasts much? You know, like obviously we've talked about it, but have we ever dedicated anything to it?
I don't know. Probably not.
I feel like we gotta do get Gunman in here and talk about Gang Beasts.
Yeah, we haven't had Gunman on for an actual episode. He's been on for the the mini series about going back to the school times. Yeah, Gunman would be cool to have him on about some gang beasts. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, we do have some. I have a really, really big guest that's going to be coming on, or us going to him either way. But I don't really want to spill the beans on that yet, so you guys will just have to stand by on that. But other than that, guys, that's kind of really all I have for tonight. I don't know if Jordan maybe has anything, but that's kind of got me.
Buy a Busa. You can't race
What?
a home, buy a car. You can live in a car.
Yeah,
Trying to get out some good advice.
Yeah,
You can't race a house, but you can live in a car. Okay,
that's exactly
all I'm trying
right.
to say.
You can't race a house.
So forget your 401k. Just go get the car. Forget your mortgage.
As Trevor would say, you might not have the money, but Wells Fargo does.
The bank's got the money. Just go.
That's their whole purpose. All right. Well, guys, with that being said, we will catch you in the next one.